welcome to my Runcast. Check out the pink vest that Kevin got me. I love it. I'm super excited about it. It's very, very light. These are the kinds of things that make me really happy. So, thank you, Kevin. That's awesome. Songkran's over. We're done with that. That's great. So, I made it back to the gym today. Today's Monday. I've been gone for, 4 days or something, just because I couldn't brave it out into the endless water playing and traffic and all that stuff, and running in it would be really hard because you can't opt out and that kind of stuff. So I go back to the gym today, and unfortunately, one of the fighters there fought on TV last night and didn't do well. It was not a good performance from him. It's not a good result. And Tapia, who almost never goes with his fighters to their fights because they tend to fight really local. They fight at Max, which he basically makes them fight there just to keep them active. These are not seen as real fights or important fights. I don't think they even keep track of whether they win or lose them. I don't know if they put them on their records, but this one was in Bangkok. Not an important fight, but because it was televised and because it was in Bangkok, more important than what he's been doing. And he got knocked out in the second round, I think. I turned it on 40 seconds before he got knocked out. I was like, Kevin, come watch A, and then he gets knocked out immediately. It was rough. But so when I walked in, Tapia was like, "Did you watch the fights last night?" I was like, I did catch that one. And he was just shaking his head. He had nothing to say. And I'm like, "Did you go?" And he's like, "Yeah, I went." I was like, that's rough. That's really rough. I've been in the position where I feel really horrible for losing when my team is there, because I never have a team. I never bring people with me to my fights. I get people there. I'll bring Karhat, but Karhat will never make me feel bad about anything ever. He's so sweet. But yeah, that's a rough day for his student. He wasn't at the gym today. But I did get to ask Tapia some questions. I like to ask him questions about history of Muay Thai, or when things changed, or is this a foul and that kind of stuff. He's very thoughtful. And he's from a time period where he's seen a lot of change in his career, not only when he was a fighter, but also because he's raised his sons, and lots of students in Muay Thai. So because so many fighters have passed through his gym and he's been teaching for so long, many decades, he's seen the changes in Muay Thai he's only 45 years old or something. I think he started fighting when he was really little, so he's got, 4 decades of experience in Muay Thai. So I like to ask him questions. And I started, Kevin had the idea to actually do it, although I had the idea fantasy-wise, but Kevin was like, let's actually do this, to start buying old Muay Siam magazines. So Muay Siam is a magazine that was, I believe it was weekly, and then they had a monthly really nice one. And then there are newspapers that kind of fill in the time in between. Those are dailies or something like that. Maybe it was monthly before when I was buying it. But this is actually how I learned how to read and write in Thai. I had a tutor originally when we moved to Thailand. I worked with this Crew Simon for quite a while, and he taught me kind of how to read and write and some basic speaking. But I was way too shy to ever speak any Thai out loud, and I would say things wrong, and it's really easy to cuss, and because I'm a woman, that would become really funny. So I was just way too shy to speak Thai ever. So my reading and writing actually got better than my spoken Thai early. And then when we moved to Pattaya, I had to start actually speaking Thai because people don't speak English as much down here. And then I was also booking my own fights, which I wasn't doing when we were in Chiang Mai. So I had to read and write and message promoters. And it was really difficult. But when I was learning how to read and write, the way I would practice this with Muay Siam magazine. So I would mainly focus on, they had a female section that was tiny. It was half a page, and it would give the rundown of what fights had happened, what the results were. Sometimes they talked about an upcoming fight, but usually it's the results of things that already happened. But they were people I was fighting and people I knew, so because I knew the names, I could phonetically sound out. I'd be like, that's Cherry. So I can see the stars fighting, this kind of stuff. And it was really good for me. So I have a nostalgic love for Muay Siam, and Muay Siam is very important to me in a number of ways. But it's been around for a very long time, and there are collectors of it. So there are people who will post on Facebook this corner of their house that has like literally hundreds, if not 1,000 or more Muay Siam magazines, and they're like the size of Rolling Stone. Like, they're big, they're kind of like 20 inches tall, but very thin, you know, maybe like 40 pages tops, something like that. And they have centerfold. They have like a color centerfold. And I follow a bunch of old Muay Thai news and like photograph sharing pages and stuff like this. And one of them that I was following, I did not realize is actually for selling Muay Thai magazines. So I stumbled upon it and found one that I wanted to buy. It's just one being advertised, which is kind of lame. And I posted, is this still available? And the guy didn't answer me for like a week. And then he sent me a private message, and I didn't know what he was talking about because he had no name on the Facebook page, and then he just kind of jumped into the conversation as though he didn't have to introduce what we were talking about. So I was kind of like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, oh, are you just pretending that you want to buy? And I was like, oh, you're talking about Muay Thai. I'm like, yes, I'm interested in buying prior to the year 2000. So I started chatting with this guy, and he actually went through his collection and like found magazines that match the years that I'm interested in, because I don't know that they even had Muay Siam back in the 80s. They had like Muay Champ and stuff like that. But in what I've bought thus far, it's from like 2000 down to, I think the most recent lot that I got has some of like 1993, which goes really far back. But even in 1993, the magazine looks so different. Like, it's got terrible photos, like very muddy. Their print jobs were not very good. They got really nice by the time I was buying them when I was learning how to read. And this is like in 2015, 16, stuff like that. So I've been going through them, and it is a treat for me. I'm so happy that I got them now, this late actually, because if I had been trying to read them years ago, I wouldn't actually know who everybody is. So I have encyclopedic, like, oh, I know who this person is, I know who that is, I know what this tournament is, like, so I'm putting sticky notes on the pages to kind of mark things that I'm interested in, so I can make videos or kind of document stuff like this. But it's fascinating. Like, they were advertising cycle 9 of the Isuzu Cup. The Isuzu Cup has been around forever. I think they're on cycle like 32 now or something. But really big names have won it before. So like Robert won it, Lakin won it, he beat Berkler. But I didn't know that on the road to Robert winning, he beat Yodkun Pan. I had no idea that Yodkun Pan was even in the Isuzu Cup. I see this man every day and didn't even know this about him. I didn't know to ask, but now that I've seen it in the magazine, I can ask him about it now that I've learned this. And just seeing like who people beat when they won and became champions, like the guy who ended up beating Charnchai Tamaransi, that's a pretty big deal. Morakat got knocked out in the first round. Like, I didn't know these things. So this is interesting to me. And then there are like mysterious things that I never really knew about that are kind of opaquely being covered, but because I've been following Muay Thai and investigating Muay Thai and living Muay Thai for so long, I can actually track changes. So like, I can see changes in the way that people write about Muay Thai back in the 90s versus how they write about it now. And part of this is also that people are online now. So you see a lot of what you're reading is on Facebook, and that is a bunch of comments, and just the like, it's just sunk down in terms of like the quality of authority that you have to have in order to write about these things, which is everywhere, you know? So like, you used to read the New York Times, maybe that's a bad example. I'm from Colorado, so you used to read like the Daily Camera or something, and there's like a degree of what the news would sound like, and it would be kind of like a roundup of the week and like what makes the news or what doesn't. And now that everything is on Facebook, it's literally like a minute after the fight ended, there's a post with a photo that's like, what do you guys think of this result, whether it's controversial or not? And there will be like 200 comments on this post bitching about it immediately. So like, the way I consume Muay Thai now with the immediacy of social media is very different from the way I was consuming Muay Thai when I first got here reading Muay Siam, and the way that people were consuming media in the golden age and just after, when they were, you know, reading magazines to catch up on what the non-televised things were, something they missed, who fought whom, who's champion now. They had, I think, monthly rankings at Lumpini, so it would be updated every month, which is really cool. They posted all of the rankings by region, so there's the like Central Eastern region rankings, and they start at 42 kilos. No, 32 kilos, which is incredible. These are children. So I made a little video, I sent it to Kevin, I think he put it on Twitter, but it was about how like this is evidence of how important child fighting is in Thailand. You have rankings starting at so tiny and going up to only 45 kilos, and the reason it stops at 45 kilos is that's when you're big enough to actually fight in the stadia, so by then you're being ranked in the stadia. It's really interesting. And I've also noticed other patterns, which again, Kevin and I find really interesting. I don't know how other people find it interesting, but as historians of Muay Thai, you can see like themes. It wasn't until a 1999 issue that I was looking through that I saw any news of female fighters at all whatsoever. The image I found happened to be the owner of the gym I started at, Palm Busaba, which is the Giat Busaba gym, which is called Lana for Westerners. And Palm married Andy, who's a Scottish Canadian, and together they had the Giat Busaba Lana Muay Thai camp up in Chiang Mai, which tons and tons of people came through. Very famous camp. Nong Tum was through the Giat Busaba gym. And so there's this little picture of Palm in 1999. She's one of 2 fighters who fought in a temporary stadium in Lamphun. It's like a really big deal to finally see news of female Muay Thai. There's no female Muay Thai section. This is like the only mark of female Muay Thai that I've seen at all. And then in that same year, simultaneously, in other magazines, not in this one, you start to see way more coverage of Westerners in Thailand. That actually started, it looks like kind of like 1996, 97. You start seeing a lot of Western coverage events that have like Thai versus Western. Danny Bill is in Thailand fighting Sanktionoi, but the way they're writing about Westerners being on the stage and fighting is very different from the way you see them writing about it now. In 1999, same time that cis women are being talked about in Muay Thai news, Nong Tum is everywhere. Like Nong Tum is in so many different magazines because she was the beautiful boxer. She's the first trans boxer, although she still had to abide by the uniform rules of Lumpini, so she had to fight topless, which trans fighters don't have to do anymore. So like lots of really interesting, like when did this happen? Like when did this shift happen of Westerners coming in and changing Muay Thai, being kind of focused on in Muay Thai, these entertainment shows. It's interesting. It's very interesting to go through these magazines and see all these changes, but also like to actually read with my own eyes little blurbs about these fighters that I actually personally know and care a lot about, but don't actually know some of the stuff that's being written in these magazines. Hippie's brother had a really big column that I thought was really interesting. Hippie and his brother are really little. I call Hippie the gatekeeper because he stayed at like 105 and 108 pounds, and everyone had to go through him when they entered into Lumpini. So like everyone you can think of who started at Lumpini when they were little, they had to go through Hippie when they first got there. And his brother was also really small. His brother's younger than him. And there's this little stub article that was talking about how people complained about his form not being good, like that he kind of was out of shape in some fight. And the article was them being like, he's not out of shape, he's fighting above his weight. If anyone wants to fight him at his actual weight of 108, 110, we'll put Dermpan on it and nobody can beat him, like totally confident. And so this thing that I see all the time of like people complaining about like, oh, his form has gone down, or like, oh, he's out of shape, or he's not training well, or whatever the thing is, like this is how people have talked in Muay Thai forever. But the way that they used to clap back, because it used to have to be done in a newspaper rather than on social media, like someone's Facebook page, is very cool, very interesting to see. So it's also very happy for me as I'm going through these and I see stuff. I'll like see Samson, or I'll see Tapia's brother Yok Tai, or just people that I know, and I'll just take a picture of the magazine page and I'll just send it to them on Facebook. I'm like, I just found this. I sent Crew F, Pet Toe, I sent him a couple of covers that are, one is just him and then one is him with his brother as a centerfold. And it's cool to be able to like, I'm of an age where like it was exciting to be in the newspaper. I remember being in the newspaper when I was a kid and my parents would clip it out. I remember my dentist was was like, I saw you in the newspaper, and it was like all very exciting, like, oh yes, you saw that. So I get excited about scrapbooking, newspaper type stuff, and so even though I know Karahat personally, he's actually going to be at my house pretty soon. He got sick, and so he's going to come down and stay with us for a couple of days so that he can rest. I know Karahat, but I like totally see a picture of him. I take a photo of the page and I send it to him, and I don't know if he cares at all, but I'm excited about it. So that's fun. That's very fun going through these old magazines, and I'm hoping to be able to share a lot of it as I kind of understand where it fits in the context of Muay Thai, rather than like, look, a picture of Chon Chai. Like, I want to actually put it into the context of why anyone other than me would care about that, and kind of the context of the way that Muay Thai has changed and transitioned. I'm amazed at, it's been, if I'm being generous, and I say that 1996 was like the first year that, you know, Westerners were kind of on the front page, the middle section, and the back page of Muay Siam. It probably was before that, but if I'm being generous and say 1996, it's kind of incredible to think that for 28 years, this stuff that I bitch about has been like brewing. It's been like these little drops of water in the bucket, and seeing how they were written about at that time versus how they're written about now, or how they're talked about now, is just, it's incredible. I don't think I'm going to be able to see that kind of historical change with the women's Muay Thai and how it's covered, just because there's not enough of it, and I'm not getting every single magazine. Like, I only get as many as I can of what people are selling and what they have. But even the difference between that 1999 copy, and there was one that had a 2-page spread of a female fighter that I don't think was even a professional fighter. I think she was maybe amateur and had done like the kind of Baran, Y Crew type stuff, but she was famous for something else. Maybe she's a singer or something, but she's half Thai, half British. I think her name's Lisa. And she had done some Muay Thai, and so they put her in the Muay Thai magazine, very excited about this. And they had a photo of her with Sagat, saying that Sagat was her first teacher, which must have been at some gym, possibly, I don't know, Pet Yen B or something like that. But like, there's just not enough information on female Muay Thai to be able to see the kind of progression and change that I'm seeing with Westerners in Muay Thai, or even just the Muay Thai of like, who do I recognize on these pages, who's getting attention on these pages, versus like, oh yes, I know this fighter, he became fighter of the year 2 years after this, like that kind of thing. It's also really weird in the like late 90s to be seeing so much Weirpon. Like, he's everywhere, but it's only boxing, because by then he had transitioned to boxing. And I had to go back to a 1993 magazine to find anything of Samson where he was fighting Muay Thai. He was getting ready to fight locked in. So yeah, I'm geeking out. I'm the librarian. I'm doing librarian stuff, and that makes me really happy. So yeah, stoked on that. And it's getting dark, so I'm gonna hop to it. Thank you for listening to my blah blah, and talk to you guys later.